So this morning I woke up and on the weekends I usually have a little bit more time than during the week to make videos. And I'm like, what kind of video am I going to make today? What the heck? I don't know what to make a video about. I'm just like searching, and then I realized this is one of the coolest topics in the entire world to talk about. There is always something to talk about, and I didn't have to look far to find that there are crazy things going on just this weekend in the quantum field and quantum computing. And there's some news out of China that I don't think is good news, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to do a little bit of a react. We have some new legislation. I do want to give a shout out to a community member. Just a couple of days ago, he left a comment, and this is something I've been aware of for a while, but since I'm just kind of sitting here in a room talking nonstop and I've never done YouTube before, I kind of feel like I had this need to always fill silences with filler words like and ah and like and just constantly be making sounds. There we go. Just like that. So Stuart here brought up, and I actually have it written on my wall above the camera as well, because I was aware of this issue and it annoys me as well. So I'm working on it. I'm working on better delivery and just making higher quality content and presenting a little bit better. So shout out to Stuart. He saved you all a bunch of ums and ahs, hopefully. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that there won't be any, but I think in the last few videos since that comment, it really helped me slow down and think about what I'm saying a little bit more and be comfortable with silence. So let's jump into today's video about the new Chinese claims, the China's Wukong Origin Quantum computer, US lawmakers proposing a Quantum Sandbox, a study suggesting that quantum entanglement may rewrite the rules of gravity. We'll talk about some existing acts that are in legislation, and I'll just kind of give my thoughts. So we'll have plenty to cover. Let's jump right in. All right, so we're going to start with this video from Sabine Hossenfelder. What a name, what a cool name. And she's reporting on a Chinese claim that they've the first successful factorization of an RSA 2028 integer. And actually D-Wave comes up quite a few times in this video. And let's take a look.
Reported another record in cracking the RSA encryption on a quantum computer. This isn't the first time they've reported such progress. How serious is this really, and what does it mean for Bitcoin? Let's have a look. Quantum computers can theoretically perform certain calculations much faster than conventional computers. One of these calculations is decoding RSA, named for Rivers, Chalmers and Edelman. It's a security protocol that has been and is still widely used on the internet for secure transactions. Even though plans are underway to switch to different encryption protocols that can't be cracked by quantum computers, intelligence organizations are almost certainly sitting on a lot of data they've collected but can't read. If RSA was cracked, all that information would suddenly become readable, resulting in God knows what.
Okay, so what she's saying here, put in very simple terms, we think right now there's a lot of entities that are gathering a bunch of data and waiting until there's a sufficiently powerful quantum computer to be able to get into that data via cracking the existing encryption methods that's currently protecting it.
Last week, the South China Morning Post again reported that Chinese researchers may have found a new path for encryption research and asks for how much longer is our data safe. Chinese researchers seem to have factorized 80-bit RSA and have even reported to have factorized 2048 bits in a paper titled "A First Successful Factorization of RSA 2048 Integer by D-Wave Quantum Computer." How alarming is all this, really? Well, D-Wave is a special type of quantum computer called an annealer built and sold by a Canadian company. It's not a universal quantum computer like what Google and IBM are trying to build, and these researchers use what's called a hybrid algorithm that's a combination of a classical and a quantum algorithm to crack the RSA code. The most commonly used RSA encryption uses more than 2,000 bits.
So there's a lot to unpack here. First, that there is some fluff and nonsense. She referred to that, really, that there are articles that come out and it just ends up being a nothing burger. She's also talking about how China is making advances and using D-Wave systems to potentially breach RSA. And this isn't a field of my specialty. I'm not a cybersecurity specialist, but if any of you who follow the channel know more about this, I do know, though, that in the Opto interview with Dr. Baratz, that Alan specifically said they don't sell computers to China. And this is probably one of their reasons, because China does seem to be in the lead, squarely in the lead. I'm going to show you another article after this video, and we'll talk about it more.
The record for breaking RSA on a supercomputer is 2,700 CPU years for 829 bits. The Chinese paper that says they cracked 2048 bits actually did this for a specific type of number, one with two prime factors that differ only by 2 bits, and their code only works for this case. The general case with 80-bit RSA, which the Chinese researchers say they cracked on a quantum computer, can also be cracked within seconds on a state-of-the-art laptop. This generally puts an interesting perspective on the idea that they broke the 80-bit encryption with a hybrid approach on a D-Wave quantum computer because they didn't even need the quantum part. That said, the threat from breaking cryptographic protocols with quantum computers is real, but it's far in the future because by all current estimates it'll take more qubits than other applications in quantum chemistry or material science, which brings up the interesting question of why do the Chinese make such a big deal of their quantum computers? I can't help but think of the ancient Chinese strategy, make a sound in the east, then strike in the west. Maybe it's a ploy to get other countries to waste money on quantum computing while China's pulling ahead in AI and semiconductors.
Nope, that is absolutely not what's happening. It's a weird interpretation. I disagree. It's very obvious that quantum computers are going to be the first mover for quantum computers. Is going to define many things and potentially redefine many things, and also have an economic advantage, perhaps a military advantage, a financial advantage, a healthcare advantage. Economies of scale will change when there's adequately powerful quantum computers. So I don't think it has anything to do with AI or semiconductors. And I don't think that it's a distraction methodology. I just think that China realizes the potential and is spending more money than the US. It's that simple.
Production. The Information Technology and Innovation Foundation projects that in the next few years, China will become the global leader in microchip production. The Chinese company Huawei just rolled out a microchip especially suited.
Yeah, because the US keeps restricting our chip exports to China, so they have to become self-dependent because they can't rely on the US for advanced chips. So I think that we're going to stop the video there. I think it does start the primer of thought on what I want to talk about. So let's jump over to this May 8th article. China's Rigen Quantum releases a 4th generation quantum control system and heads towards mass production. So I went in and highlighted this article already. China's Origin Quantum launched in its 4th generation quantum control system. TNG 4.0 enables more efficient, automated signal control. The new system builds on the success of the Origin Wukong. A visitor takes photos of an Origin Wukong superconducting quantum computer model at the 2024 manufacturing. I don't know why that's a highlight. The new system, dubbed Origin TNG 4.0, supports over 500 qubits. It serves as the central control for superconducting quantum computers, according to the Global Times. The new system marks a shift from research-heavy development to production-ready engineering. Tasks that once required PhD-level quantum physicists have now been standardized into procedures that can be executed by general engineers. So that's going to be a critical adoption point for quantum as well, is creating software frameworks and essentially that the interconnectivity between an unskilled developer or a developer with a limited skill set that can still access the power of the machine without being a quantum physicist. The Global Times reports that the system is currently being used to develop the next generation of quantum computers as part of what the company calls a fully China-controlled quantum technology pathway. It positions the technology as a domestic alternative to efforts by US-based quantum firms like IBM, Rigen, and Google. Wukong, the 3rd generation system, has reportedly handled more than 380,000 quantum computing tasks for 26 million users in 139 countries since going online in 2023. With the debut of this new computer, Origin Quantum is signaling that quantum in China is entering a phase of accelerated development and engineering standardization. So what do we take from this article? That China is aggressive and they're innovating at a fast clip, and it's pretty obvious they're spending more money. I think a recent estimate was 15 billion versus the US spending anywhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 5 to 6 billion. And this is, we have more money in the pipeline, but the problem is that right now we're just being outspent. And this is more of a clear priority for the Chinese government, it looks like. So let's look at this new article. US lawmakers propose a quantum sandbox to accelerate near-term applications. So we need to look at a couple different things. So we kind of have to read between the lines when it comes to these type of things. So we're seeing increased urgency from the US government. And I would point you all, I'm scrolling down my page to a US Chamber of Commerce is pushing for faster action on quantum computing. That's a video I created a month ago. Go check that one out. DARPA accelerates the big push for quantum. So that's the quantum benchmarking initiative and pushing for quantum at utility scale in more near term. This sandbox appears to be a new initiative. So a bipartisan group in the US House introduced the Quantum Sandbox for near-term applications. The sandbox will provide a cloud-based environment where government and industry can jointly create quantum and hybrid applications. The bill complements the National Quantum Initiative by emphasizing a real-world use case and rapid commercialization. So use near term, rapid, different things like this. So we have to start reading between the lines a little bit, right? That okay, what's the hurry here? You know, I mean, if the US should the US even care? Like, why should we spend money on this? Well, if you're the second mover on this, and I've said this for the past few months, it's not going to be a fun time. Quantum computing is a game-changing advancement in technology. It will dramatically increase the speed at which computers can run algorithms and solve problems, enabling new opportunities to improve our supply chains. The Quantum Sandbox for near-term applications will help to ensure the United States remains a global leader in not only the development, but also the deployment of new quantum technologies by providing a cloud-based venue for developers to produce quantum-enabled software tools. So we have some quotes down here, and I highlighted a couple. So D-Wave CEO Alan Baratz says, "We commend representatives all the representatives behind this bill for their continued leadership on advancing near-term applications of emerging tech like quantum and AI. We are already seeing meaningful progress where quantum is providing computational advantages. For example, the U.S. Army Research and Development Center recently developed quantum application for wildfire management. A dedicated program to accelerate near-term quantum applications is essential to incorporating hardware and software advancements, and Quantum Sandbox legislation would do just that by enabling public-private partnerships to safely test and validate applications within a 2-year timeframe. This effort is key to demonstrating the real-world viability of quantum technologies. We strongly urge its enactment in Congress. And there's a lot of different CEOs or representative from quantum companies. Quantinuum, who has a awesome track record with their work with Microsoft, and they're just a leader in this field. As the world's largest integrated quantum computing company, Quantinuum strongly supports the bipartisan Quantum Sandbox for Near-Term Applications Act. This legislation is essential to ensure the continued leadership of the U.S. in this critical emerging technology. By fostering application development and accelerating commercialization, the act will help unlock solutions to some of today's most complex challenges across a range of critical sectors, including healthcare, energy, national security, and beyond. So I'm going to put all of these articles and links in the description so you can go and take a look for yourself and read these articles if you're interested in their full form. We're not done yet. We're going to talk about another article. So a study suggests that quantum entanglement may rewrite the rules of gravity. So that's the crazy thing with quantum and in this field is we are in a period of discovery. We're on a frontier, and when we don't know what lies ahead, really, and anyone who says they do know what lies ahead with quantum and discovery is lying to you, and you shouldn't listen to them. I'm on this channel where I talk about quantum all the time. I don't ever tell you guys that this is for sure going to happen. It's about what could happen and what are the possibilities. And we know that we weigh the potential positives that can come from quantum, but we also have to factor in the potential negatives and balance the conversation. We can't just assume that everyone is going to be good and play nice when we have these more and more advanced technologies. So this was a pretty wild article, and it's basically a new study published in the Annals of Physics that proposes that quantum information encoded in entanglement entropy directly influences the curvature of space-time, suggesting gravity may emerge from quantum information itself. A new study proposes that quantum information encoded in entanglement entropy directly shapes the fabric of space-time, offering a fresh path toward unifying gravity and quantum mechanics. So there's a law that's been that information cannot be created or destroyed. This principle is a cornerstone of quantum mechanics, stemming from theorems like the no cloning theorem and no deleting theorem. While information might appear to be lost in processes like decoherence or black holes, it's believed to simply be hidden or redistributed. And there's some speculation that even Hawking radiation from black holes is releasing that information back into the ether. So entanglement entropy measures the degree of quantum correlation between different regions of space and plays a key role in quantum information theory and quantum computing. Because entanglement captures how information is shared across spatial boundaries, it provides a natural bridge between quantum theory and the geometric fabric of space-time. I think space-time is a cool word. It just is. I don't know. That's my complete thought there. The duality between geometry and information, the study argues, has far-reaching consequences. In particular, it suggests that gravity could emerge from entanglement at the quantum level, a view aligned with ongoing efforts in quantum gravity, including holographic theories. cosmological consequences. While these corrections are too small to detect with current technology, they offer a theoretical window into the long-standing black hole information paradox, an unresolved tension between quantum mechanics and general relativity. This might be just the beginning. Beyond black holes, the scale dependence of gravity could affect inflation, nucleosynthesis, and dark energy. So very interesting. And we have a couple acts, right? I want to close the video because we're talking about a bunch of different things. So we're talking about RSA encryption. We're talking about China releasing a new quantum computer and China spending more money on quantum computers. And we're talking about quantum potentially being the quantum entanglement may rewrite the rules of gravity. And we're talking about different things. But the reason we're covering a variety of these different subjects is this is all new information. So in order to stay informed and educated about a topic like quantum, which is as nuanced and complex as quantum mechanics, quantum computing, we have to consume, digest, and think about the information that's provided to us. So really, there's some critical thinking that is needed. And there is certainly a huge gap in our current society between the understanding of, even on the most basic fundamental level, what a quantum computer is, or what quantum is in general. I even brought it up. We were out at an event and just having a social wine event the other day, and I brought up, I do this channel on quantum, and deer in headlights for most of the people. There's not even a connection to how or why they should care. And this is something that will change the world in a meaningful way, and it will change our lives. So the question for me is, will the US government realize that? Well, does the US government have enough information? And it does appear with these sandboxes for near-term applications that there are representatives in our government that realize what's happening, and they're pushing for action. And we know we have the quantum leaders, bipartisan $2.7 billion National Quantum Initiative Reauthorization Act. We also have the DOE, which is a separate $2.5 billion bill to expand US quantum research. And that was brought forward by the DOE. So we have DARPA, we have DOE, we have multiple different forms of legislation that are both in Congress at this point in time, or being introduced as bills or legislation. And the question becomes, when will we see these laws or this legislation passed so that we can do some catching up? Because it seems pretty clear to me that we are behind, and falling behind further. Since I started looking at this more closely in January, I don't think we've made any meaningful progress in the US towards getting a lead in this area. And I don't want to beat around the bush. I want to just say it like it is, because that's how things will change, right? I want to acknowledge that there is a deficit, and that we, as investors and believers in this technology, understand this technology on a deeper level. But it's also important that we understand that most people don't, and that includes our elected officials. So we have work to do to spread the word and spread the message about quantum and how it's going to change the world. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this content. If I earned it, and only if I've earned it, please consider leaving a like or subscribe. Have a great weekend.